After 12 years of marriage, I discovered my husband had another wife in another state. When I found her, she cried and said, I thought I was his only wife. Furious, we both confronted him. He smiled and said, neither of you were supposed to find out. But the real twist? We found out he was hiding. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who would end up in a situation like this. I thought I had a solid marriage. A good life. We weren't perfect, but who is? We had a home, routines, shared memories. We had a life together. Or at least, I thought we did. 12 years. That's how long we were married. Over a decade of what I believed was loyalty, love, and commitment. Then, one random Tuesday afternoon, my entire world collapsed in a way I could never have imagined. It started with something small. A misplaced phone. He was in the shower, and his work phone, one I had never paid much attention to, buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I wouldn't have looked. But that day, I did. The message on the screen was simple, hey, love, are we still on for dinner? Love? We weren't going to dinner that night. My stomach dropped. My hands trembled as I unlocked the phone, his passcode was the same as always. And there it was. A long conversation thread. Photos. Travel plans. References to our house in another city. I felt sick. But I needed proof before I confronted him. So, I dug deeper. And what I found turned my shock into horror. He wasn't just seeing someone else. He was married. Another wife. A whole other life in another state. I sat there, my mind spinning. How? How had I never noticed? How had he managed to live this double life for so long? I had questions, but there was only one person who could answer them. So, I did something I never imagined myself doing. I called her. Her voice was warm, polite, until I said my name. Until I told her who I was. Silence. Then a sharp, shaky breath. And then, the words that shattered my heart all over again. I thought I was his only wife. She wasn't just the other woman. She wasn't some secret fling. She was me. Another version of me. A woman who had built a life with him, trusted him, loved him. Just like I had. We cried together. And then, together, we decided to confront him. When he walked into our home that evening, he was smiling. But that smile faded the moment he saw both of us standing there, side by side. He didn't deny it. He didn't even look guilty. Instead, he just shrugged. Smirked. And said, neither of you were supposed to find out. Like it was all some game. Like our lives, our years, our memories, our trust, meant nothing. But the real twist? The thing that neither of us could have prepared for. We weren't the only two. There was more. So much more. And what we uncovered next would change everything. I don't know what I expected him to say. Maybe an apology, maybe some kind of regret. But the way he stood there, calm, almost amused, it made my blood boil. Beside me, the other wife, her name was Rachel, was gripping her arms so tightly her knuckles turned white. Neither of us spoke at first. The weight of the betrayal sat between us like a thick fog. Then, Rachel took a step forward and asked the only question that mattered. How many more are there? He laughed. Laughed. Like this was some joke. You really want to know? His voice was smooth, almost teasing. Let's just say, more than two. Rachel gasped. I felt my body go numb. More than two. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone. I had spent the last few hours gathering evidence, scrolling through emails, messages, financial records, anything that could give us the full picture. And that's when I saw it. An email confirmation for a plane ticket. Not to see me. Not to see Rachel. To see someone else. I turned the phone around so Rachel could see it too. Her face went pale. Oh my, no, that's not possible. She looked at him, wide-eyed. You told me she was your cousin. He just smirked. Rachel turned back to me, her voice shaking. I met her. She came to our house once. She had a baby with her. You think, I didn't want to finish the thought, but we were both thinking it. Another wife. Another family. Another life. We weren't going to sit around and wait for more lies. Rachel and I worked together, digging through his phone, his emails, his travel records. Every click led to another secret. By midnight, we had a name. Anna. She lived in Arizona, just a few hours flight from us. And when we found her social media, our stomachs dropped. A wedding photo. With him. Our husband. The same suit he wore when he married me. The same suit he wore when he married Rachel. And standing next to him. A little boy. No older than 5. Rachel covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. He has a child. I couldn't breathe. A son. We had to tell her. Rachel was the one who made the call this time. We watched the 3 little dots appear as Anna typed her reply. Then, the phone rang. I braced myself as Rachel answered. Hello. A shaky breath on the other end. And then, please tell me this is a joke. It wasn't. And when we finally met Anna in person 2 days later, she collapsed into a chair, covering her face with her hands. I thought I was his only wife. We weren't done. Anna had her own set of records. And when we cross-checked them with ours, something horrifying became clear. There were at least 5 wives. 1 in California. 1 in Nevada. 1 in Texas. And those were just the ones we could find. Each of us had thought we were his only one. Each of us had been fed the same stories, the same lies. Business trips, late meetings, sudden emergencies. Every single one of us had been living in a carefully crafted illusion. And it got worse. I started going through bank records. Credit card statements. He had accounts in different names. He wasn't just married to all of us. He was using our money to fund his other lives. Mortgage payments. School fees. Flights between cities. Every dollar spent on one wife came from another. He was stealing from us. Rachel looked at me, her face set in stone. He's been taking from all of us to support all of us. Anna's hands clenched into fists. He's been using my money to pay for your home. And probably hers. And hers. And hers. We were all funding our own betrayals. We knew we had to confront him, together. The 4 of us, myself, Rachel, Anna, and one more wife, Laura, agreed to meet in the same city. We didn't tell him we knew everything. We just told him we wanted to have dinner. One by one, we arrived at the restaurant. And when he walked in and saw all 4 of us sitting at the same table. For the first time, he looked afraid. His smirk was gone. His usual confidence cracked. He tried to laugh it off, but no one was laughing. Then, Anna, his 3rd wife, the mother of his child, stood up. And what she said next changed everything. Anna pulled out a folder. A thick folder. She threw it on the table. I hired someone to look into you. He froze. She opened the folder, flipping through papers, receipts, travel logs. You've been married before us. More than once. And you're still married to someone else. A 5th wife. A 6th. We still weren't the only ones. His hands gripped the chair so hard his knuckles turned white. He was caught. And for the first time, he knew it. But the biggest secret? The thing none of us expected? One of the other wives had already filed for divorce. And in her legal case, she had uncovered something even worse. Something that could change everything. Something that made every single one of us realize. We never really knew who he was. And the truth? It was far bigger than we ever imagined. We never really knew who he was. That was the most terrifying part. Sitting at that restaurant, with 4 of his wives staring him down, I could see the panic in his eyes. For the first time, he wasn't in control. Anna flipped through the folder she had brought, her voice cold and sharp. Your name isn't even real. His head snapped toward her. What? She slid a document across the table. Your real name isn't what we all thought. It's something else entirely. I leaned forward, my stomach twisting. It was a marriage certificate. Dated years before he ever met any of us. And the bride's name? Someone we had never heard of before. A 6th wife. The first one. The one he had married decades ago. He was still married to her. And she had already started divorce proceedings. But her case wasn't just about ending the marriage. She had hired an investigator. Because she had found out what he had really been doing all these years. This wasn't just a case of a man juggling multiple wives. He was taking money from every single one of us. Mortgage payments, loans, credit cards, he had forged signatures, opened accounts in our names, and drained them. We had all been funding his lies without even knowing it. And now, he was about to be exposed. Anna's hands trembled as she held up a document. This is going to court. Rachel's voice was like steel. And we're all going to make sure you don't walk away from this. His face drained of color. For the first time, he looked truly afraid. We had options. But the best revenge? We worked together. The five of us, because yes, we found the first wife and she was furious, decided to make sure he faced the consequences. We gathered every financial record, every forged document, every bit of evidence we could find. And we took it to the authorities. Turns out, forging signatures, stealing money, and lying on legal documents. That's a serious crime. His bank accounts were frozen. His credit was destroyed. His businesses, because yes, he had started companies with our money, were shut down. And the final blow? We all filed for divorce on the same day. I'll never forget the moment they took him away. We were all there, me, Rachel, Anna, Laura, and his first wife, Margaret. He had been trying to leave town. Pack up and disappear, just like he always did. But this time, there was nowhere to run. He was arrested right at the airport. I watched from a distance as they put him in handcuffs. He saw us standing there, and for the first time in his life, he had no words. No smirk. No charm. Just the realization that his game was over. With him gone, we rebuilt. Rachel started a business with the money she got from the settlement. Anna moved back to her hometown and started fresh. Margaret, the first wife, finally got the closure she had waited years for. And me? I learned that sometimes, the best revenge is knowing you walked away stronger. Because he thought he could control us. He thought he could use us, take from us, and leave us with nothing. But in the end, we were the ones who took everything from him. His money. His lies. His freedom. And his power.